I am Jarvis, your storyteller. Welcome to the science fiction exploration. If you like the story, please subscribe to our channel. Ambassador Jenna Reynolds stood at the viewport of the Earth Embassy Station, watching the swirling nebula clouds beyond Proxima Centauri. Her weathered hands, marked by decades of diplomatic service, clasped behind her back as she contemplated the message just received from the Galactic Council. "They're scared of us, aren't they?" Deputy Ambassador Kai Patel approached silently, his dark eyes fixed on the same celestial view. At 63, he had spent the last 15 years helping humanity navigate the complex web of interstellar politics. "Terrified would be more accurate," Jenna replied, turning to face the holographic display showing Earth's latest technological achievements. "We've accomplished in 50 years what took most species centuries." The Council's message floated before them, its diplomatic language barely masking the underlying threat. Earth's rapid technological advancement had been deemed potentially destabilizing to galactic harmony. The Council demanded immediate oversight of all human research facilities and implementation of development restrictions. Admiral Viktor Petrov's hologram materialized in the room, his stern expression matching the gravity of the situation. "The Sol Defense Fleet is at your disposal, Ambassador. If the Council thinks they can bully humanity into submission, they've gravely miscalculated." Jenna raised her hand, a slight smile playing across her features. "Not yet, Admiral. Let's show them why humans are dangerous in ways they haven't even considered." The next day, the Galactic Council chamber hummed with tension as representatives from 32 spacefaring civilizations gathered. High Counselor Zyxtal, a towering crystalline being, presided over the emergency session. Their faceted surface reflected the ambient light in patterns that betrayed their anxiety. Ambassador Reynolds walked into the chamber alone, her simple black uniform a stark contrast to the ornate regalia of the alien representatives. She carried no weapons, no defensive shields, nothing but a small data crystal. "Honorable Council," she began, her voice carrying clearly across the vast chamber, "I bring greetings from Earth, and a question: when did fear begin driving your decisions?" Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Counselor Vexnam, a serpentine creature known for their diplomatic finesse, attempted to interject. "Ambassador, this session concerns serious violations." "No," Jenna cut in, her tone sharp but controlled. "This session concerns your fear of change, your terror of evolution, your desperate attempt to maintain control over species you deem lesser than yourselves." She inserted the data crystal into the central podium. The chamber's holographic system sprang to life, displaying a comprehensive analysis of Council species' technological development rates. "In the past millennium, your species' advancement has slowed to a crawl. You've become custodians rather than innovators, guardians of the status quo rather than explorers of possibility." The analysis shifted, showing Earth's exponential growth curve. "Humanity doesn't just adapt, we thrive on change. We don't just overcome obstacles, we transform them into opportunities. Your demand for oversight isn't about galactic harmony, it's about preserving your comfortable position at the top of a hierarchy that's about to be challenged." High Counselor Zyxtal's crystalline form vibrated with barely contained anger. "You dare accuse this council of—" "I dare to speak truth," Jenna interrupted again. "And here's more truth. Your demands for oversight are denied, but we offer something else instead." She activated the final part of her presentation, revealing a new initiative, the Galactic Innovation Coalition. Earth proposes a new framework for technological cooperation. Not oversight, not control, but genuine collaboration. Any species that wishes to break free from stagnation is welcome to join. We'll share our research, our methods, our drive for innovation. The chamber erupted in chaos as various representatives began speaking at once. Some in outrage, others in barely concealed interest. Through it all, Jenna stood calmly, watching the seeds of change take root. "This is madness," Counselor Vexnam hissed. "You cannot simply ignore Council authority." "Watch us," Jenna replied, her voice carrying an edge of steel. "Humanity reached the stars because we refused to accept limitations placed upon us. We cured diseases deemed incurable, broke barriers called unbreakable, and achieved what others labeled impossible. If you try to contain us, you'll only prove that your counsel has become obsolete." As she turned to leave the chamber, Jenna paused at the doorway. "You have one standard galactic week to consider our proposal. Choose wisely. Humanity is prepared for either outcome, are you?" The message was clear. The age of passive acceptance was over. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage not as supplicants, but as equals, and they would not bow to fear disguised as authority. Back on the Earth Embassy station, Kai met her with a concerned expression. "That was quite a performance. You realize you just challenged the entire established order of the galaxy." Jenna smiled, watching as various alien ships began approaching the embassy station, smaller powers already eager to discuss the innovation coalition. "No, Kai. I just reminded them that progress cannot be contained by fear. The galaxy is about to learn why challenging humanity's potential is a serious mistake." The quantum-encrypted transmission arrived at Earth's Central Command at exactly 300 hours Greenwich Mean Time. Director Nathaniel Chen of Earth's Strategic Response Division studied the message with growing concern, his office overlooking the sprawling Singapore megacity below. "They're moving faster than we anticipated," Dr. Alina Volkov observed, her hologram flickering slightly as she joined the emergency meeting from Luna Base. The quantum physicist's reputation for solving impossible problems had earned her the nickname, the Oracle, among her peers. "The Council's blockade ships are already positioning themselves at key trade routes," Nathaniel confirmed, manipulating the holographic star map to show the Council's fleet movements. Red dots indicated increasing military presence around human-controlled space. But they've made a crucial mistake. Commander James Thunder Akanjo, head of Earth Special Operations, leaned forward in his chair. His cybernetic eye whirred softly as it analyzed the tactical display. "They think they're dealing with a conventional military threat. They have no idea what we've been preparing for." The room's atmosphere grew heavy with anticipation as Nathaniel activated Project Nightshade's classified files. Holographic displays showed a network of quantum tunnels, hidden research facilities, and technological innovations that even most of Earth's population didn't know existed. "Operation Silent Echo is now active," Nathaniel announced. "Dr. Volkov, how soon can we implement the quantum mesh network?" Alina's hologram gestured, bringing up complex mathematical equations. "The quantum entanglement nodes are already in place. We've been seeding them throughout Council space for the past 3 years, disguised as standard communication relays. One command from us, and we'll have unrestricted access to their entire network." On the other side of the planet, in the Brazilian tech hub, Dr. Marcus Santos was already leading his team in final preparations. The massive underground facility hummed with energy as thousands of quantum processors synchronized with their counterparts hidden throughout the galaxy. "The Council thinks they can isolate us," Marcus muttered, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "They don't understand that humans turned isolation into an art form during our digital age. We don't need their approved channels anymore." Above Mars, Fleet Admiral Diana Zhang watched as her ships executed a series of seemingly routine maneuvers. To any observer, it appeared that Earth's fleet was conducting standard defensive exercises. In reality, each ship was precisely positioning quantum beacons that would form the backbone of humanity's new independent navigation network. "Status report," Diana commanded, her voice carrying the weight of decades of space warfare experience. "Operation Ghost Protocol at 87% completion, Admiral," her AI assistant responded. "Council observers are maintaining their distance, monitoring patterns exactly as predicted." Back on Earth, Nathaniel received confirmation after confirmation as humanity's hidden preparations came to fruition. The Council's attempt to isolate Earth had triggered exactly the response humanity had prepared for, not with guns blazing, but with silent, systematic technological superiority. "Dr. Volkov," Nathaniel addressed the quantum physicist, "initiate Phase 2 of Project Nightshade." Alina's hologram smiled as she entered the final commands. Across Council space, countless seemingly innocent devices, gifts, traded technology, standard equipment, suddenly activated their secondary protocols. The quantum mesh network came alive, creating an invisible web of communication and data gathering that bypassed every Council security measure. "Sir," Commander Akanjo's aide burst into the room, "we're receiving requests for private meetings from 17 different species representatives. They're all lower-tier Council members, and they're all using our quantum channels." Nathaniel exchanged knowing looks with his team. Right on schedule. The Council's attempt to isolate us just convinced every species they've been oppressing that we're their best hope for independence. Dr. Santos' voice came through the quantum link, excitement evident in his tone. "Director, you need to see this. Our deep space sensors are picking up massive fleet movements in the outer rim. The preserved, the oldest species in the galaxy, are mobilizing for the first time in 10,000 years." "They're not mobilizing against us," Elena interjected, her hologram displaying new data streams. "According to these readings, they're positioning themselves to observe. The preserved don't intervene unless they believe a fundamental shift in galactic power is imminent." Admiral Zhang's tactical assessment followed immediately. "The Council's trying to project strength, but their response is revealing their weaknesses. Their fleet movements are traditional, predictable. They're fighting the last war while we're already 3 steps into the next one." Nathaniel stood, walking to his office window to observe the bustling city below. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for extraterrestrial threats, imagining alien invasions and cosmic conflicts. The reality had turned out to be far more interesting, a battle of innovation, adaptation, and strategic foresight. "Send word to Ambassador Reynolds," he commanded. "Tell her to proceed with Phase 3. It's time to show the Council exactly what they've awakened. Not with violence, not with threats, but with the one thing they fear most, change." As the quantum mesh network continued its silent expansion, as hidden technologies activated across the galaxy, and as more species began reaching out through secure channels, one thing became crystal clear. The Council's attempt to contain humanity had instead released them to reshape the galaxy itself. The clandestine station, hidden within an artificial quantum pocket near the Orion Spur, was never meant to exist. Its very presence defied Council regulations, which made it the perfect location for what Ambassador Reynolds had dubbed unconventional diplomacy. Fleet Captain Olivia Hassan watched as ships from different species materialized from quantum space, each bearing representatives who had rejected the Council's stance on humanity. Her tactical display identified vessels from the Meridian Collective, the Starborn Nomads, and even the reclusive crystal mines of Vega. "Quite a turnout," remarked First Contact Specialist Raj Patel, his augmented vision scanning each arrival for signs of deception or hidden weapons. "Though I'm more interested in our guest from the deep reaches." At the far end of the station's diplomatic chamber, a creature of pure energy contained within an ancient environmental field stood silently. The Luminary, as they called themselves, were among the first species to achieve spaceflight. They had withdrawn from galactic politics eons ago, claiming younger races had become too focused on power rather than progress. Ambassador Reynolds entered the chamber, her presence commanding immediate attention. "Welcome to all who have chosen to attend. Your presence here proves what humanity has long suspected. The Council's authority is maintained through fear rather than respect." The luminary's energy form pulsed with patterns that the station's AI translated. "We have watched your species since you first split the atom. Your potential for destruction concerned us, but your capacity for redemption and growth intrigued us more." "The Council fears what they cannot control," chittered Representative Katal of the Meridian Collective, their insectoid form vibrating with suppressed anger. "They banned quantum tunneling research because they claimed it was dangerous. The truth, they feared it would make their control over trade routes obsolete." Olivia's tactical display suddenly lit up with urgent signals. "Ambassador, multiple Council warships have just appeared at the edge of the Orion Spur. They're searching for us." "Let them search," Jenna replied calmly. This station exists in a space between spaces. Now let's discuss why you're all really here. The holographic display at the center of the chamber activated, showing a complex network of quantum pathways and hidden technological developments. Humanity's Innovation Coalition isn't just about sharing technology, Jenna explained. It's about breaking the artificial constraints that have kept our civilizations from reaching their true potential. The Crystal Mind representative, a being of living crystal and light, stepped forward. The Council claims authority over all faster-than-light travel, all quantum research, all artificial intelligence development. They claim it's for safety. We know it's for control. Which is why, Raj interjected, we've developed alternatives to every Council-controlled technology. Our quantum mesh network makes their communication monopoly irrelevant. Our zero-point energy systems free us from their resource control. The luminary's form brightened intensely. You've achieved zero-point energy manipulation. That should be beyond your current development stage. Should be, but isn't, Jenna smiled. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, it's our refusal to accept limitations. When they say something's impossible, we take it as a challenge. Suddenly, Captain Hassan's display lit up again. Ambassador, the Council ships are implementing a new search pattern. They're using tachyon sweeps, technically forbidden technology. How interesting, Jenna's smile turned predatory. Record everything. The Council's desperation is proving our point better than we ever could. The Starborn Nomad's representative, a being of shifting plasma and stardust, moved to the center of the chamber. We have wandered the galaxy for millennia, watching civilizations rise and fall. The Council's stagnation is not natural. It is enforced. We choose to stand with humanity. One by one, each representative stepped forward, pledging their support not just to humanity, but to a new vision of galactic civilization. The luminary was the last to speak. Long ago, we withdrew because we saw no hope for change. Today, humanity has reminded us that hope comes from unexpected places. We will share our knowledge, not as teachers, but as equals. The age of enforced stagnation ends now. As the meeting concluded, Raj approached Jenna privately. That went better than expected, but the Council's response will be severe. Of course it will be, Jenna replied, watching the representatives return to their ships. They're about to discover their worst nightmare, not a military challenge, but an intellectual and technological revolution they can't control. In the station's quantum communications center, messages were already spreading through the hidden network. Species that had been separated by Council restrictions were connecting, sharing, innovating. The barriers weren't just falling, they were being rendered irrelevant. Captain, Jenna turned to Olivia, implement Phase 4. It's time to show the galaxy what real progress looks like. As the clandestine station's quantum shields rippled with energy, preparing for the next phase of humanity's plan, one thing became clear. The Council hadn't just challenged humanity's right to progress. They had inadvertently sparked a galactic renaissance that would reshape civilization. Itzel High Counselor Zeikstel's crystalline form pulsed with rage as emergency reports flooded the Council's supreme chamber. Trade routes were collapsing. Long-standing alliances were fracturing. And at the center of it all stood humanity, not with weapons of war, but with something far more devastating: ideas. The sanctions have failed, reported General Vax of the Council's defense fleet, his holographic form flickering with interference from humanity's quantum mesh network. 17 member species have officially withdrawn from our trade agreements. 30 more are threatening to follow. In Earth's Central Command, Director Nathaniel Chen watched the Council's desperate attempts to maintain control with quiet satisfaction. Holographic displays showed the collapse of the Council's carefully maintained power structure in real time. They're about to make their big move, predicted Admiral Zhang, her fleet positioned strategically throughout human space. Their entire system is built on the illusion of absolute control. Once that illusion cracks. She didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone knew what cornered powers did when their authority was threatened. The warning came sooner than expected. Council warships, hundreds of them, emerged from hyperspace at key positions throughout the galaxy. Their message was broadcast on all frequencies. By emergency decree of the Galactic Council, all unauthorized technological development is hereby suspended. Any species found in violation will face immediate military response. This is not a negotiation. Director Chen's response was a single command: activate the Prometheus Protocol. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, in millions of hidden systems, humanity's true work revealed itself. The quantum mesh network, which the Council thought was merely a communication system, activated its secondary function. Dr. Alina Volkov's voice came through crystal clear, despite the Council's attempts at communication jamming. Quantum field activation in 3, 2, 1. In an instant, every Council warship found itself trapped in localized quantum fields, their weapons and engines rendered useless. The fields weren't weapons. They were simply selective enforcement of physical laws, allowing humanity and its allies to rewrite the rules of space itself in localized areas. Impossible, General Vax's hologram sputtered. This level of quantum manipulation should be beyond any species' capability. Admiral Zhang's voice cut through the chaos, broadcasting to every Council ship. You assumed we spent the last 50 years catching up to your technology. The truth is, we spent it moving beyond it. Each advancement you tried to restrict pushed us to find better alternatives. In the Council chamber, High Counselor Zeichsel watched in horror as reports came in from across their territory. The quantum fields weren't just neutralizing their ships. They were revealing hidden Council facilities, secret weapons programs, and centuries of technological suppression. You claim to regulate technology for the galaxy's safety. Ambassador Reynolds' transmission reached every Council world simultaneously. But we've exposed the truth. You hoarded advanced technology while forcing other species to remain dependent on outdated systems. That ends today. The luminary's energy form appeared in the Council chamber, their presence a clear violation of ancient treaties. We withdrew from galactic politics because we saw no hope for change. Humanity has proven us wrong. They didn't just advance technology, they made it accessible to all. Representative K-Tal of the Meridian Collective joined the transmission. The Council's authority was based on technological superiority. Now that humanity has shown us how to achieve true independence, that authority means nothing. Director Chen watched as more and more species declared their independence from Council control. Not through violence or revolution, but through simple technological liberation. The Council's worst nightmare had come true. They were becoming irrelevant. Sir, an aide reported, the Preserved are broadcasting a message throughout the galaxy. They're laughing. In the quantum-locked Council chamber, Ambassador Reynolds made her final offer. Your choice is simple. Step down voluntarily and join a new era of genuine cooperation, or watch from the sidelines as the galaxy evolves without you. High Counselor Zeichsel's crystalline form dimmed as the full impact of their failure became clear. They had tried to contain humanity's influence through force and regulation, only to discover that humanity's true power lay not in their technology, but in their ability to inspire others to embrace change. The Council's authority is hereby suspended, Zeichsel announced, their voice heavy with the weight of defeat. We request terms for transition of power. Admiral Zhang's fleet began powering down their quantum fields. There will be no transfer of power, she declared. Only the beginning of true collaboration. The age of enforced stagnation is over. Welcome to humanity's version of progress, where advancement is shared, not controlled. As the Council's ships stood frozen in space, as ancient powers revealed themselves as paper tigers, and as a new network of alliances formed across the galaxy, one truth became undeniable. The Council's greatest mistake hadn't been challenging humanity. It had been assuming they could control a species that had turned breaking barriers into an art form. 1 year after the Council's collapse, the Nexus hub floated in Earth orbit, its crystalline spires and quantum-forged halls representing everything the old order had feared. Species from across the galaxy gathered not in hierarchy, but in collaboration, each bringing their unique perspectives to the greatest technological renaissance in galactic history. Director Chen stood at the hub's central observatory, watching ships of all designs arrive for the first Galactic Innovation Summit. "Hard to believe it's only been a year," he mused, as Ambassador Reynolds joined him at the viewport. "A year since they tried to contain us," Jenna replied, her eyes tracking a luminary vessel as it phased into reality nearby. "A year since they learned why that was impossible." The main chamber of the Nexus hub hummed with activity. Dr. Alina Volkov was deep in discussion with crystal mind scientists, their combined expertise pushing the boundaries of quantum physics. Commander Akanjo demonstrated advanced defense systems to a group of former Council worlds, showing them how to protect themselves without relying on external powers. "The latest reports are in." Admiral Zhang's hologram appeared beside them. "The quantum mesh network now covers 87% of known space. Even the outlying systems are requesting connection points." A massive holographic display dominated the chamber's center, showing the new galactic order taking shape. Where the Council had enforced boundaries and restrictions, now freely flowing lines of communication and trade connected thousands of worlds. "They asked me today," Jenna said quietly, "why we didn't take control when we had the chance. Why we didn't simply replace the Council's authority with our own." The answer materialized in the form of the luminary elder, their energy form shimmering with approval. "Because that would have made you no different from those you replaced. Instead, you did something far more powerful. You showed the galaxy how to free itself." Dr. Santos entered the chamber, his team of multi-species researchers following with excitement. "The first joint development project is ready for demonstration," he announced. 17 species working together have achieved what the Council claimed was impossible, stable micro-universe creation for unlimited energy generation. The gathered representatives watched in awe as the demonstration unfolded. Where the Council had hoarded knowledge, humanity had fostered collaboration. Where they had enforced stagnation, Earth had encouraged evolution. "We're detecting unusual activity at the galactic core," Captain Hassan reported suddenly. All eyes turned to the massive display as ancient structures, dormant for millions of years, began to activate. The preserved, those mysterious firstborn of the galaxy, had finally chosen to reveal themselves fully. Their message resonated through the quantum network. "We withdrew from the galaxy when we saw younger races following the path of control and dominance. Humanity has shown us a different way. The time of isolation is over." As if to punctuate their words, massive gates of impossible technology activated throughout the galaxy, connecting regions of space that the Council had deliberately kept separate. The preserved weren't just rejoining galactic society. They were sharing technology that had been hidden for eons. "This," Director Chen addressed the gathered representatives, "is what we mean by progress. Not one species dominating others, but all of us reaching for the stars together." The starborn nomads' representative, their form shimmering with stellar energy, moved to the center of the chamber. "We wandered the stars for millennia, watching civilizations rise and fall through the same patterns of control and collapse. Today, we witness something new, genuine cooperation." Former Council worlds, once the enforcers of stagnation, now eagerly joined research initiatives. Species that had been deliberately kept apart found common ground in shared discovery. The galaxy was transforming not through conquest or control, but through the simple power of unleashed potential. "They really should have known better," Admiral Zhang mused, watching the proceedings. "Every time humanity has faced a barrier, we've turned it into a doorway. Every restriction becomes an invitation to innovate." Ambassador Reynolds smiled as she prepared to address the gathered species. The Council's attempt to contain humanity had indeed been their greatest mistake, but it had led to the galaxy's greatest triumph. They had feared humanity would destroy the established order, never imagining that humanity would instead help build something far better in its place. "Welcome," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of known space through the quantum network, "to the future we create together. The Council thought they were protecting the galaxy by controlling it. We prove there's a better way by unleashing the potential in every species, every world, every individual who dares to dream beyond the boundaries others set. As new alliances formed, as technology advanced, and as the galaxy awakened to its true potential, one truth became clear. The moment the Council had challenged humanity's right to progress, they had inadvertently triggered exactly what they feared most, not the rise of a new power, but the end of power itself as a governing principle of galactic civilization. The age of control was over. The age of innovation had begun, and it all started because someone thought they could tell humanity no.